Hi, Aaron Croft here from Foosgadget. Welcome to our installation video. First of all, we want to begin by removing our old scoring system, and that's a simple Phillips head screwdriver that we're going to take out. Okay, so next we're going to drill our holes. There was a time when we drilled our holes through the top of the cabinet, but we understand that people want to be able to use their beads, their scoring beads. So we set up a system, made a new bracket that's cantilevered off to the side that can be used along with your beads. So instead of drilling a hole through the center, we're going to do ours through the end. There is some wiggle room here, but we want to be about 9 inches from the outside of the table and about 1.25 inches from the center down. This is 3/4 inch MDF, so we got to be around that. You could also move it down here a little bit. The cable that's going to come through is plenty long. So now, once we have our hole drilled through, I use a 3/4 inch hole saw bit. Then switch over to a paddle and go right on through. Once we do both sides, we'll start to do the wire harness to connect our system. So now for our main wiring harness, we're going to use, it's going to connect our 2 goal ends, and there are 3 locations in the bottom of the table that we can pull screws out and put our hangers there. I'm going to set my apron aside, and I have this one pre-loosened. And I would probably just get these just barely snug so that they hold, and you'll be able to make a little bit of adjustment on either end if you need it. Leave them a little bit loose so that there's some play here, 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 and down there. So one of the things we have to do, and one of the things that we have changed, is we have to put on the brackets. We purposely leave the brackets off for shipping. We designed this bracket to go on here, and this bracket is actually, you do have to put these supplied screws in there. Remember, don't over tighten them. We're going, in this case, we're going to aluminum, but these are actually going to line up perfectly with our factory screws. And I've noticed even in older tables, the distance from this edge to here is 2¼ inches, and that lines up and it allows our system to be lined up perfectly when we set it up in there. All right, so we're going to pull these 3-inch screws out, and once we have these on, we'll put them in place. Now, we're actually using a couple of different mediums here. This system here is an aluminum system that we're using, T6 aluminum, and then we're also working with another medium with 3D printing with the durable stuff here. What I'm actually going to install on this table is a 3D printed. And yeah, you'll be able to choose colors. Hopefully down the road we'll have some options for that. Coming in close here, when we connect our goal-to-goal ends that we just installed, we have to plug it in right here. And then up at the top is our display cable that's going to go. There are 5 and 6 prongs, so you can't hook it up wrong. You can only hook it up one way and hook it up right. I also connected the antenna here. This is so that we can get our Wi-Fi connections, and I would point this down at an angle. We want to be careful it doesn't stick out the back and get pinched in the cabinet. So point it forward a little bit when you install it. So for our power cord, we've chosen, because we want all of our wires to be internal instead of external, I'm going to drill a 1/2-inch hole right through the bottom of the table so that we can hook our power supply there and not have any exterior wires. So here's my the goal end. I'm going to attach that before I slide it up in there. You got to push at the base, be a little careful. The wires they're durable, but we don't want to wrench on them too much. We want it nice and easy. Then I'm going to do our display. And our power supply. So now I'm going to route this with the system in my right hand and the cable in my left. I'm going to route it through and push it through our hole. And I want to pull up on this a little bit so it doesn't get kinked in there. I'm slightly pulling on this, just keeping the slack pulled. Then I'm going to slide my system up in here. You shouldn't have to force it. It's gonna be a little snug, but you want it. You shouldn't have to force it. If it starts to pinch somewhere, don't force it. Just let it go in its natural spot. I recommend repositioning if it feels like it's getting pinched a little. And then we don't want to over tighten these. This is MDF material we're running into. I'm gonna come back to it and finish it by hand. We have not found that we've had to add this second screw here, but you certainly could if you felt that it needed the support. Again, just snug, not over tighten. Let's put our display on. All right, so now that we have our hole drilled through and our lead line pushed through, I want to make sure that we have a supplied grommet that we're going to put over that. You'll also notice that we've installed our bracket using the factory screw and the beads. Okay, so that just slides under there. Eventually you may want to tighten this up, not over tighten, but to get it at the right angle. We always recommend that you set this up to the left of the server side, so it coordinates with the beads. You've got the yellow beads with the yellow guy, and then we'll have the other side with the black and their corresponding sides. So this line will be fed through, and then we will connect it to the bottom of the display. I'll pull this down, and then there's these two #1 screws that we're gonna attach to the back. And again, don't over tighten. We're drilling into plastic, so it's got to be nice and easy. So for our power supply, we provided a jack that allows you to, and in this case, we've done a lighting attachment, which is going to be 12 volt up to 2 amps. So it can be run through that, and then the power supply for the display goes back into the display and down into a power source. All right, so our installation is complete. Our Foosgadget gauge management system is set up and ready to go. So we'll be doing a user's guide video here shortly. Stay tuned for that, and happy foosing. Ah.